Imagine this: 168 soldiers against an empire of 80,000 warriors. It sounds like something out of legend, but it actually happened. Today, we're diving into the shocking story of the Battle of Cajamarca, a moment in history that changed the fate of entire civilizations. How did a small band of Spanish conquistadors defeat the massive Incan Empire? And what tactics turned the impossible into reality? Before we jump in, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you love exploring epic historical tales. And for today's question, what do you think is the most surprising battle tactic in history? Drop your answer in the comments below, and let's get started. To understand the sheer improbability of the Battle of Cajamarca, we need to look at the two forces involved. The Incas ruled over the largest empire in pre-Columbian America, stretching across the Andes with cities, infrastructure, and a military force in the tens of thousands. This was an advanced civilization with impressive engineering feats and highly organized social systems. The Inca ruler, Atahualpa, was seen as divine and commanded unmatched respect among his people. Little did he know, though, that across the ocean, an ambitious Spanish captain named Francisco Pizarro was preparing to risk everything to claim the Incan wealth for Spain. Pizarro's force of 168 men, including 62 cavalry, was small compared to the mighty empire he aimed to conquer. But what they lacked in numbers, they made up for with steel weapons, armor, and horses, tools the Incas had never encountered. However, even with their technology, Pizarro's men faced a seemingly impossible task. After all, they weren't just up against thousands of Incan soldiers. They were entering a foreign land with vast terrain with no backup in sight. Yet Pizarro and his men were determined, setting the stage for one of the most jaw-dropping battles in history. The Spanish arrived in Cajamarca with a daring plan. Despite their limited numbers, they requested a meeting with Atahualpa, who, intrigued by these strange men from across the sea, agreed. The Incan ruler entered the plaza with thousands of his warriors, unarmed and relaxed, believing he had nothing to fear. Meanwhile, Pizarro and his men hid in the surrounding buildings, weapons ready, and waited for the signal. The Spanish had placed cannons and soldiers strategically around the plaza, intending to use the element of surprise to overwhelm Atahualpa and his entourage. When Atahualpa arrived, a Spanish friar presented him with a Bible, urging him to accept Christianity. Confused and offended, Atahualpa threw the book aside, signaling to the Spaniards that diplomacy had failed. This small gesture set off a brutal chain of events. Pizarro gave the signal, and suddenly the calm plaza turned into chaos. The Spaniards attacked fiercely, cannons roared, and the Incan warriors, shocked and unprepared, panicked. Horses charged, Spanish swords slashed, and the noise from the cannons disoriented the Incas, who had never seen or heard anything like it. Within minutes, the Incas went from confident to helpless, unable to regroup as the Spaniards mercilessly cut through their ranks. It's hard to believe a smaller force could take down such a large army, right? So here's a question for you all. Do you think this victory was more due to Spanish tactics or pure luck? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As the battle unfolded, the Spaniards made a bold move. They aimed not to destroy the Incan force, but to capture Atahualpa himself. In the chaos, Pizarro reached through the defenses and personally seized the Incan emperor. Atahualpa, though stunned, understood the value of his life to his captors and quickly offered a ransom to save himself. The ransom he proposed was mind-boggling. He offered to fill an entire room with gold and 2 more rooms with silver in exchange for his release. Pizarro agreed, seeing the opportunity to enrich himself and his men beyond imagination. For months, Incan subjects brought vast amounts of gold and silver to Cajamarca. This was a staggering display of the empire's wealth, yet it also marked the beginning of its downfall. Despite paying his ransom, Atahualpa wasn't freed. Pizarro, perhaps fearing the emperor's influence or driven by greed, ultimately chose to execute him. With Atahualpa's death, the Incan leadership crumbled, leaving the empire vulnerable. In less than a year, the Spaniards had managed to destabilize one of the world's largest empires. It's a moment that speaks to the ruthless strategies employed by the conquistadors and the devastating impact of their arrival on native civilizations. Now you may wonder, how did 168 men, even with horses and firearms, manage to conquer an empire that spanned thousands of miles? Historians suggest several factors. First, the Spanish weapons, including steel swords and armor, gave them a huge advantage in close combat. Then there was the element of surprise. The Incas had never seen anything like cannons or cavalry. Furthermore, the Incan military was accustomed to ritualized warfare, not the brutal all-out assault that the Spaniards unleashed. Finally, capturing Atahualpa shattered the Incas' chain of command, which relied heavily on the emperor's leadership. Without him, their unity and morale collapsed, and resistance became sporadic and disorganized. This combination of factors, technology, surprise, and strategic capture, turned the seemingly impossible into a brutal reality for the Incas. The Battle of Cajamarca didn't just end with the conquest of the Incas, it symbolized the beginning of a new era for South America. With the Incan Empire destabilized, Spain quickly moved to assert control, seizing massive amounts of wealth and altering the lives of millions. The culture, language, and religious practices of the indigenous people were deeply affected, forever changed by the arrival of the Spanish. The story of Cajamarca is often viewed as one of conquest, but it's also a story of resilience, as the descendants of the Inca have preserved their heritage and culture despite centuries of colonization. This battle serves as a reminder of the tremendous impact a single encounter can have on the course of history. So, what can we learn from the Battle of Cajamarca? This event reminds us of how small, determined forces can sometimes overcome immense odds through strategy, technology, and sheer will. It's a story that illustrates both the power of ambition and the devastating effects of colonization. And for our last question, if you were leading the Incan forces, how would you have tried to prevent the Spanish from succeeding? I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching. If this deep dive into history fascinated you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories from the past. Let me know your thoughts on the Battle of Cajamarca in the comments below, and stay tuned for more stories that bring history to life. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and never stop exploring.